Sharon Creech, an American Newbery novelist of children's fiction, was born on July 29, 1945, in South Euclid, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland. Her family includes her parents, Anne and Arvil Creech, an older sister Sandy, and 3 younger brothers, Dennis, Doug, and Tom. As a child, she was an enthusiastic writer and reader. As she recalls, drifting into the pages, living someone else's world. She loved reading about American Indian myths, Greek myths, and King Arthur legends. While at Hiram College in Ohio, she became interested in storytelling as she earned a bachelor's degree in English literature. She then attended George Mason University of Virginia, where she received a master's degree in the same field. She continued by working at both the Federal Theater Project Archives and as editorial assistant at the Congressional Quarterly. In 1979, after a divorce, Creech moved along with her 2 children, Rob and Karen, to Thorpe, Surrey, England, where she secured a position becoming a high school English teacher at the American School in Switzerland. During her teaching of great literature, she examined writings and learned what made a story interesting, with the techniques of plot, characterization, and point of view. In 1982, she married Lyle D. Rigg. Some of her favorite writers include Virginia Woolf, Karen Heese, Christopher Paul Curtis, Walter Dean Myers, and Karen Cushman, to name a few. Another inspiration in her life was her father, who had a stroke and was unable to speak during the last 6 years of his life. She thinks of all the words he must have wanted to say to the family but could not. A month after his passing, in 1986, Creech began her first novel and has been writing ever since. Many of her ideas come during a revision process after the first draft is written. She asks herself, what else is a character thinking and feeling? Creech states, when I am working on a book, I am living in the head of that character, and I am also standing to one side watching that character. She makes the characters seem real, picturing them as if they were right there. She finds ideas from childhood experiences in the everyday things that surround her, and through her experience of who she is, what she has done, and what she has seen. Many of which were influenced by summer trips when her family would journey to Wisconsin, Michigan, or Ohio. These memories account for her writing of journeys, which have always been very important to Creech. As a child, the family often visited her cousins in Quincy, Lewis County, Kentucky, a beautiful farm with hills, trees, swimming holes, and a barn, which she later wrote about in many of her books, transforming it to the fictional Bybanks, Kentucky. In 1988, she received her first recognition with a poem called Cleansing, and received the Billy Murray Denny Poetry Award from Lincoln College in Illinois. This made her realize that what she was writing was worth reading to people. While living in England, Creech wrote 2 adult novels under her married name of Sharon Rigg. This includes The Recital in 1990 and Nick O'Malley in 1991, both of which were published in England only and are out of print. She also wrote a play performed in the Off-Broadway festival called The Center of the Universe, Waiting for the Girl, produced in New York City in 1992. Her first children's book, Absolutely Normal Chaos, in 1990, is a fictional view of what it's like growing up in Creech's noisy and rowdy family in her hometown Euclid, Ohio. Creech uses her brothers' names for the characters in the book. The book is written in the form of a summer journal by 13-year-old Mary Lou Finley, as she records her feelings of the chaos in her family and life, the issues of growing up, first love, and the arrival of an unusual cousin. It won the YALSA Popular Paperback for Young Adults, USA, in 2001. Creech's first book to be published in America was Walk to Moons in 1994. This is a realistic fictional novel of a 13-year-old girl by the name of Salamalca Tree Hiddle. She travels along with her eccentric grandparents on a journey retracing her mother's footsteps, experiencing what her mother saw and what she must have felt on her journey west. Sal ultimately accepts that her mother will never return, and she goes through the grieving process from denial to anger to the acceptance of her mother's death. She learns that when she walks in the moccasins of others, she learns so much about herself. The book contains two plots, a story within a story, as Sal entertains her grandparents during the journey with a story about her friend Phoebe Winterbottom, whose mother has also left. The book talks about mother-child relationships, journeys, first love, mystery, and life and death. This book won the Newbery Medal in 1995 from the American Library Association. The receipt of the Newbery renewed Creech's excitement in writing. Little did she know that a childhood trip to Idaho at the age of 12 would impact her to rewrite the trip on her book Walk Two Moons. The title and inspiration for Walk Two Moons came from a fortune cookie message of a Native American proverb, "Never judge any man until you have walked 2 moons in his moccasins." This gave the idea for the journey and the Native American heritage. In 1997, it won the Literaturhaus Award in Austria and the Young Adult Sequoia Award in Oklahoma, USA. Creech returned to the U.S. in 1998 after 18 years abroad. Her book, Bloomability, was published that same year. This book features an American 13-year-old girl named Dominica Santolina Dune, or better known as Dinny, and her life while attending an international boarding school in Switzerland. The setting was inspired by the American school in Switzerland where Creech taught English. Creech captures your imagination with the scenery, the description of teachers, and how students from different nationalities act towards each other. Bloomability won the IRA CBC Children's Choice Award in 1999. Besides having written 2 books for adults, over 15 children's novels, she also wrote 3 picture books that included Fishing in the Air 2000, a book of a father-son fishing trip that turns into a bonding experience, where instead of fish, they catch vivid memories. A second picture book is A Fine Fine School 2001, which was inspired upon by Sharon Creech's husband and his experiences as a headmaster. The story is about a girl named Tilly and a well-intentional principal, Mr. Keene, who is so proud of his school that he decides he wants to extend the days into weekends, summers, and holidays, carrying it a little bit too far. A third picture book, Who's That Baby, 2006, is based from ideas received on the thought of what her granddaughter's point of view as a baby might be. The book is a celebration of family and the joy a new baby brings, with songs and poems in first-person baby's voice. One of her favorite books, The Wanderer, 2000, was inspired from Sharon Creech's own daughter's journey across the Atlantic. The Wanderer recounts the travel with alternating journal entries from the characters Sophie and Cody as they record daily challenges surviving at sea. Sophie travels with her 3 uncles and 2 cousins from Connecticut to Ireland and then to England, en route to visit her grandfather Bumpy. The book won the Parents' Choice Award USA in 2000, the Newbery Honor Award in 2001, and the Christopher Award in 2002. Creech was the first American to win the Carnegie Medal Award for her book Rudy Holler in 2003. The book was inspired by a story Creech was told about her father's childhood with his siblings and parents while living in a holler. A basin in the hills, Creech imagined the place where her father grew up as a child. She wrote the narrative of an older couple, Tiller and Sari, and 2 troubled twins, Dallas and Florida, who had been shuffled through foster families and orphanages. They all experienced changes in their lives in a special place where it's never too late to be loved. Another book is Love That Dog, 2001, a short novel written in free verse format which was inspired by Walter Dean Meyer's poem Love That Boy, as Creech wondered if the boy in the poem might love a dog. Written from a boy's point of view, it shows how Jack finds his own voice, and a growing love for poetry due to the exposure of inspirational poems by his teacher. Jack learns that poetry brings life to words. This book won the Christopher Award and the Carnegie Medal Commended Book Award. Her upcoming book is The Boy on the Porch, which is due out October of 2013. As I read Creech's books, I felt the delicate balance of the reality of life with humor in all her stories. Her writing has many authentic moments where I felt a connection with events in my past and present life.